Jim Acosta.
Hi, Molly. How you doing?
I'm good. We are our own what were they like in 2016 photo, right?
I know. I just did that thing and I was like, wow, that was so nice.
I
You
was so
know?
young looking back 10 years ago. You really see how much of your life you've given over to Trump. Okay, so we're going to talk about Renee Good because everything we're seeing now is the actual like evidence. It's been a little bit more than a week and they've gone through the videos, they've gone through the evidence, and emergency workers found Renee Good with an irregular pulse when they removed her from the vehicle, which means she was alive when
Yeah.
they came to her, which means that had the doctor been allowed to treat her, she would have survived,
Yeah. Well, and she
probably.
shouldn't have been shot in the first place. I mean, we can say that.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, to me, this is looking more and more like the US government murdered Renee Good.
Yeah.
And what makes matters even worse for DHS and this particular officer is that it appears that there might have been some moments to save her life.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
that is the case, that is just so damning.
Yeah.
And that is why there has to be an independent investigation. There can't be one of these Cash Patel, wink, wink, nod, nod, the ICE officer didn't do anything wrong, absolute immunity bullshit deals.
Right.
I was talking with Keith Ellison, the Attorney General of Minnesota, and, he said, of course, there is no absolute immunity, but he also said, keep in mind, there is no statute of limitations on
Patients
murder.
on murder. Yep.
And so, when these guys are out of office, Minnesota can still investigate this, but that's a long time for everybody to
Yeah.
get to the bottom of this. And, Molly, you and I can talk about this, but it seems to me that the bigger overarching issue is that Democrats need to find a way to rein in this campaign of terror. I mean, it is absolutely out of control, and maybe it's through this DHS budgeting process.
Right.
I don't know, but it seems to me that they're totally out of control at this point.
So let's talk about that because right now, as you and I are talking, the appropriators in the Senate are appropriating money
Yeah,
for the budget, for the 2026 budget. And in that budget are billions of dollars to the Christie Nome militia.
right.
And in those billions of dollars are, right now, ICE is in Minnesota. Since we're name dropping Minnesota politicians, I've been talking to the governor, Tim
Yep,
Walz, and they're just trying to take down the temperature, talking to everyone from the Pope down about how to
yep.
take down the temperature. Whereas Donald Trump is tweeting about how they're fraudsters. But I want to get back to this idea here about why they went to Minnesota in the first place. Why'd
Yeah.
they go to Minnesota in the first place?
First of all, I mean, you just have to listen to Trump. He seems to have some kind of weird grudge that he's holding on to with Minnesota. He made some ridiculous claim the other day that he's won the state 3 times. That's more banana stuff from the,
But also,
dementia patient in chief. But I mean, to me, it's he also seems to want to crush. I mean, we obviously know he wants to sort of crush, blue cities and their ability and blue states and their ability to sort of do their own thing. But I think there's something about Minnesota that he wants to intimidate and bully.
but it's also likely because of the Nick Shirley YouTube video, which
Yes.
highlighted this fraud from 2022 where
Right.
people had been prosecuted, people had gone to jail. This was a story that had been highlighted by the mainstream media. It had been prosecuted by prosecutors who were later fired by Trump. And then it was discovered, quote unquote, by a YouTuber who, was 22 or whatever. And then
It's like
Trump
the
World,
Minnesota version of big balls,
yeah,
you know?
right. He's big balls.
He's
Exactly.
he's ice balls. Yeah.
Exactly. He's ice balls. Yes.
I think that, this goes back to if you just whisper something ridiculous in Trump's ear, he'll say, "Oh, that's a good idea. Let's invade Greenland." This is one of the problems that we've seen over the last 10 years, going back to 2016. Whoever's last in the room with him, whoever can pull him aside or have a private moment with him and whisper something insane into his ear. I mean, there's an audience for that,
Mm-hmm.
and he seems to act upon it. But I think there's something about he's I think that's part of it, what you're saying, Molly, but I think there's something about he wants to be a dictator, and he wants to show these blue states and cities that he's in charge,
Yeah.
and that is how it's going to be. I mean, a lot of this is about humiliation. I think a lot of this is about control. I mean, look at the way he dealt with the lady who won the Nobel Peace Prize, Machado, in Venezuela, just sort of harping on that, continuing to badger her on that until she gave him the goddamn Peace Prize. And
Yeah.
it just seems to me the guy wants he and Stephen Miller, who is sort of the de facto president right now, they want compliance at any cost.
But but I wanna ask you about this because they want compliance, but you think she's gonna become the leader of Venezuela? I don't. I
Her
think
stock, I think, is rising. I don't know if it's gonna be the case. I
I
think
mean,
Trump is a dictator guy who likes dictators, and he'll
yeah,
probably wanna go with, the devil that he knows at this point, the regime without, Maduro in there, because they'll just do what he wants and open up
yeah,
oil and the gas station that is Venezuela, and that's how,
yeah,
Trump would rather it's sort of like when he pardoned all the January 6th rioters and criminals because they didn't wanna do the homework and figure out which
yeah.
ones were dangerous. That's just fuck it, let's just do them all. And I suppose Venezuela is sort of a similar case in that it's just easier to just, keep the people in there under Maduro because it's cleaner that way and easier.
So you have Trump, Venezuela, he removed the president and his wife. Alright, so that's Venezuela. You
Yeah,
have Greenland, you have now a CODAL of senators going to Greenland and to Denmark to tell them, "Don't worry, we're not gonna do regime change in Greenland."
right.
And then we have Cuba, which he's threatened because why not?
Why not?
And we have
Presidents have never had a
Iran.
problem with Cuba in the past. That's just
It
never
should
happened.
be fine.
Yeah.
Well, and the Middle East, we've done really well in the Middle East. Iran, he might want to do regime change there
Yeah.
because they're protesting and he wants to protect peaceful protesters in Iran, but not in Minnesota. Make
Do
it
you
make
think maybe he
sense.
he pulled back on Iran because he got the Nobel Peace Prize from Machado, and he's, "Well, I got it, so, why do we don't need to do Iran now." I don't know.
He's brought a lot of peace. He's brought a
He's
lot of
brought a
peace,
Yeah, he solved
except in
11
America.
wars and caused 20 of them. I mean, on Greenland, this is what I've been saying, and it to me, feel free to push back. I'm happy to hear it, but we already have Greenland in a way,
Right, of
right?
course.
It's part of
Yeah.
NATO. We have a military base there. We don't need to invade a country where we have a military base and we have NATO. This notion that it's needed for national security reasons, I don't think the Greenlanders have any problem with us putting more bases there or, sending in companies to
No, of course not.
pillage their natural resources and so on. I think, that so this thing again, it goes back to I think, his MO, which is he just wants people to say yes. He wants people to be compliant and he will humiliate you until he gets what he wants. And I mean, my sense of it is, and I don't know what you think, Molly, about this. I think that if he does something crazy and invades Greenland, my advice to the NATO allies would be to just do nothing, would be to just like this. You can do military exercises, you can flex your muscles, you could talk about sanctions and stuff like that. But we're at sort of the stage of, Grandpa Simpson falling asleep on the sofa, dropping the remote control under the couch and getting frustrated because he can't find it. And that's sort of mentally, I think, where Trump is right now. And he's just lashing out. It's sort of like the way the market has been responding to
People
the
don't
Fed
believe he's
and
really
so
gonna
on.
do it.
It's
Yeah.
just it's a taco thing, so let's just hang in there and wait it out. That's my
Right. I
sense.
mean, except when it comes to removing the leadership in Venezuela, that wasn't Taco. That
That
was
was
just
not taco.
duo. I mean, that's the problem is if it were all Taco, I think that would be okay. The
Yeah.
problem is we don't know what is or isn't Taco. Now, I think
I
Trump
think Venezuela is a little bit that was sort of deputy de facto, President Marco Rubio
Ren
having his designs set
on
on what
being
is
able to
happening
run
down
for
there.
president. Yeah.
Running for president, competing
Yeah.
with JD Vance, that's one component, and then I think he
Yeah.
also just sees, like, Venezuela as sort of the gateway drug to getting Cuba.
Yeah.
And, there I think there's that component to it as well, and my sense of it right now is that you have 2 sort of deputy prime ministers in the White House who are kinda running things right now, and it's Stephen Miller and it's Marco Rubio until something changes, That's
And JD Vance,
and I guess JD Vance, I guess,
a
to some
little bit
extent,
less.
but he seems to be maybe less influential, but maybe more evil and more sinister. I mean, the
I
way he
mean,
responded to the Renee Good thing was absolutely appalling.
my favorite thing about JD Vance's response to the Renee Good thing was it was like everyone was like, "Let's take down the temperature. Let's take down the temperature. Let's take down the temperature." And he's like, "She was a domestic terrorist." Like
Right.
it immediately. Like
Yeah.
the goal was to take down the temperature, and immediately he just went completely to
Well,
11.
and we should probably lay down the law here and say, no Republican is ever allowed to say, "Let's turn down the temperature," until Donald Trump has left office. I
Right.
mean, as one of his advisors once told me, he is an arsonist who never resists lighting the match.
Mhm.
And, he is going Trump is just gonna inflame things, in particular this year. I mean, when you heard him the other day, talking about maybe we don't need to have elections coming up
Yeah.
November, and then he said it to Reuters, and then,
He was
Caroline
kidding. He
Caroline
was
Levy, "Oh, he's
kidding.
joking, he's kidding."
Joking.
You know
Hilarious.
he is not going to turn down the temperature. He is going to raise the
Right.
temperature because
Right.
he sees that as the only way out of the predicament that he's put
Mm.
himself in.
It's so funny because it's like, here he was, he came in, and people were like, "This guy, we're gonna give him another chance." Like, it was just like one of these sort of nightmare scenarios. Everyone was like, "He's kinda great,"
Yeah,
you had every billionaire in the world, like, up there with him being like, "We like this guy. He's good for business." And
yeah,
then all of a sudden, he does insane things, just like we told you he was gonna do. He
yep.
does insane
Ollie and
things.
I warned you.
He sends ICE in to occupy American cities,
Yeah,
and then people are and the polling is horrendous. The billionaires are still totally on board because they could maybe make some more money. But
yes.
the American people, this guy is fucked when it comes to poll numbers. I mean, the poll numbers are they're as low as they've ever been
Yeah, no, he is screwed
on
10 ways to
everything.
Sunday. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
screwed 10 ways to Sunday right now, even on immigration. And my favorite poll number of the week is the one in a Reuters poll that showed that 4% of the American people are in favor of militarily taking Greenland.
What ab
4%.
what about 50% of Americans think ICE makes a city more dangerous?
Yes,
Like,
that's right.
think about that. They
Yes,
think
no,
that when you send ICE in, it's like sending Tren de Aragua.
it's muy stupido, I think might be the other thing
Yes.
that might be the Trump gang, in 2026. Muy stupido, I believe is the name of that gang. But, but these guys, I have to say, you're hitting on one of my buttons here, talking about the corporate titans and so on bowing
Yeah.
down to Trump. I mean, will there ever be a more shameful thing that has occurred in the history of this country than what we saw took take place in 2025, the way they just completely buckled and I think enabled a lot of what we're dealing with right
Oh,
now.
yeah.
And it is
Yeah.
one of the coping mechanisms, there's no question about it. I've witnessed this and observed this for the last 10 years covering him in and out of the White House, is that, on the right, there's just a coping mechanism. And even in the business community, and I guess to some extent in the academic community, and certainly in the media
Yeah.
community, if we just, hang in there and we just, sort of stomach this stuff and absorb this stuff and play along and play nice, it'll all work out. And I'm sorry, but, it just fascism doesn't work that way. It doesn't end that way.
It doesn't end that way, and it turns out because this is stupid fascism, it doesn't start that way even. It just
This
sort of
is
it begin maybe the sort of preamble is that, but then very quickly it devolves. I
Yeah,
want you to talk about how CBS News, you may
yeah,
have heard of it, it was the
yeah,
number 3. They lost 23% of
mm,
viewership in the first 2 weeks. I mean, how do you
mm.
even do that?
Listen, I used to work at CBS a million
Yeah.
years ago. It's a slightly older audience, to put it mildly, and, the 23% or so who turned off CBS are the ones who were able to get off the sofa and out of the reclining bed and hit the remote control and turn off the TV. This has been an absolute debacle. And, Walter Cronkite isn't just rolling in his grave. He's thinking about coming back from the dead and punching Tony Decouple in the face, I think is what's happening right now. And it's in part because Barry Weiss appears to be a complete amateur when it comes to running a news operation
It's not
outside
that
of a
easy to
Substack.
run. I mean, to go
Eh,
from
no.
as an opinion writer myself, To go from
Yeah,
being an opinion writer to running a major network,
that's right.
it's not the same skill set.
It's not the same thing, and, when they come out with these mission statements and it says, "We love America," well, no shit, we all love America, we just don't
Right.
want it to go down the tubes,
Yeah.
and everybody has a different opinion on how that should go, and, to put that out there is just it's just like, just tell us how you wanna be Fox. I mean, honestly, like, it's just so completely obvious,
We
and
make
or
no
tell us how you wanna be Fox without
apology.
telling us how you wanna be
Right.
Fox.
We make no apology for our love of America.
Yeah, it's condescending and gross. And,
Yeah.
we all love this country. That's not the point. The point is, should you be having your anchor on the CBS Evening News and the broadcast by saying, "We salute you, Marco Rubio," or how
It
about where he both sides January 6th? It's absolutely ridiculous. It's not the news. And
it
to
is
me, that's why they're turning it off.
it's also interesting to me,
Yeah.
I think, that she clearly thinks that TV audiences are really stupid.
Yeah.
And they, as someone who does a lot of television, and you too, TV audiences are not stupid. They're
That's right.
actually really involved and interested, and
They
they
want the
care.
news. Yeah, they
Right.
care about it.
And they care about the news. And when you think an audience is stupid, you're always going to give them the worst possible thing. And
Yeah.
that is what, when I think about we love America and won't apologize for it. Like,
Yeah. I'll tell you something I heard a million years ago when I worked at CBS News in the early 2000s. There was a producer there named Linda, and this is when I was very new there, very wet behind the ears, very young. And she said a couple things to me. She said, "Here at CBS News, our correspondents are either the females are young and pretty, and the old guys are old and crusty, and you're neither." That was one thing that she said to me. The
that's
other thing that
good.
she said to me was, "The people who watch the CBS Evening News are smart fucking people."
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
are. And
Yeah.
they know when they're being sold a bill of goods. And that is what is going on here. And people don't want propaganda in this country. They can sniff it out. And to me, it is such a crying shame to see what's happened over there. But to me, it's just going to continue to encourage what we've been seeing in this industry, which is this rise of independent media. People are going
Right.
to say, I don't want to watch corporate news anymore if these companies are just going to do this ridiculous, clownish stuff and kiss up to Donald Trump. And maybe good business they think for them in the corporate boardroom. I can't tell you how many times I've heard over the years corporate executives in news divisions say, if we became more like Fox, the audience will come over. No, they won't. They're
No.
completely baked in over there at Fox. They wanna watch Jesse and
But
Sean
also,
and those guys kiss Trump's ass. They
but
don't want
also,
it on the CBS Evening News.
But also, why? Why would you want it? Like, most of the country is not liking this. So why
Right.
are you going to be? I mean, it's like,
It's hubris. It's absolute hubris. Apparently, she goes around with, like, 5 security guards on a
yeah,
private plane and everything.
yeah.
When
Well,
she's in her
can't
40s, like, "Have
good.
a
I
good
mean,
time. Enjoy
good
it
for
while you
her,
can, I
man.
guess."
Enjoy, you just, yeah,
But
put that all on the corporate expense account, baby.
I mean, look at what was reported, I think, in The Guardian just this week, Molly, where the media reporter there talked to some insiders inside CBS who said they were deeply upset with this story that came out this week that said, 2 US officials say that, the officer who shot and killed Renee Good suffered internal bleeding. To me, that's the kind of story in this environment where you need those officials on the record. If those officials
Right.
wanna peddle that stuff, they need to put their names on it.
Well,
And
and
it seems to
yeah,
me if they're not willing to do that, then they probably have something to hide. This administration does not get the benefit of the doubt. It is led by the liar in chief, and, all of these officials who are, working on his behalf behind the scenes don't have a great track record either, and so to me, like, if you're a reporter working on this stuff, you can't just say, "Oh, okay, 2 US officials say it, that's fine. Let's publish. Let's go with that."
yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah,
no, it's true. Also, it's ridiculous.
yeah.
We saw the video of him walking
He
away,
walked away.
going, yeah. So, like,
Yeah.
clearly he's was fine.
He shot her
Um,
with one hand, recorded it with his cell
well,
phone
the
in the
other
other,
one, and then went,
walked and then called her a fucking bitch and walked
and
away.
walked
Doesn't
away.
look like
Yeah,
internal bleeding to me.
yeah. Jim Acosta, will you come back?
Anytime, happy to do it.